We are about to start the meeting, so if everybody would like to find some place to be comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to start by entertaining a motion to nominate Commissioner Jim Ballou as President Pro Tem of this evening's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Ballou?
Yes.
Commissioner Mullaney?
Yes.
President Doroffer?
Okay, based on that, I'd like to call to order the Vernon Hills Park District regular board meeting of February 22nd. It is 7 o'clock p.m. and I need a roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Here.
Commissioner Mullaney? Here. Commissioner Ballou?
Present.
Commissioner Kessler?
Here.
President Doroffer?
With that, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item on the agenda tonight is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and are non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If a separate vote on any one item is desired, it will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Items for the omnibus vote agenda this evening are A, minutes of the special board meeting of January 25th, 2018, minutes of the regular board meeting of January 25th, 2018, and payables less Granger and payroll through February 22nd, 2018 in the amount of $675,554.71. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Ballou?
Yes.
Commissioner Mullaney?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Okay, those are all good. Next item up is our welcome to visitors and guests, our public comment period. Anyone wishing to speak to the board this evening, please come up to the podium. Seeing no great rush to the podium, we'll move on. Okay, next up are financial reports for the period ending January 31st, 2018. Marla, are any changes or additions to the financial reports?
Financials are good.
Good to hear. All righty, thank you. Okay, next I'd like to just announce that we're going to move the reports and communications from the staff to follow the new business, because we have a lot of other things and unfinished business, because we have a lot of other things we'd like to get to, and we want to keep everyone waiting this evening. And the other item that we're going to do is we are going to pull item under new business, item 8D will not be addressed this evening, so that is not going to be on the agenda. Okay, so with that, next up is the Sullivan Woods Wetland Restoration Project with Wetlands Research Incorporated. So just a little back history. As a reminder, over the past several months, we've had presentations from Wetlands Research on the possibility of a wetland project over in the Sullivan Woods area. There's been many discussions. There's been information meetings for the neighborhoods to come out. We've had public comment both from Wetlands Research and from the residents of the neighborhoods. And I believe at the last meeting, we said we'd get back to you and let you know where we want to go with this. So with that, I need to ask for a motion to advance discussions with Wetlands Research Inc. regarding the Sullivan Woods Wetlands Restoration Proposal.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, any discussion at this time? I need a roll call, please.
Commissioner Kessler?
No.
Commissioner Ballou?
No.
Commissioner Robbins?
No.
Commissioner Mullaney?
No.
Okay, the motion to advance discussion with Wetlands Research regarding the Sullivan Woods Wetlands Restoration has failed by a vote of 4-0. On behalf of the Park District, we'd like to thank Kathy Pop and Don Hafe of Wetlands Research for all of their time and effort on this proposal. There was some very interesting information that we received, but at this time we're just we're not comfortable in which direction we want to go with this. So we are opting to do nothing as of right now with it. So With that, we will no longer be discussing it, and we appreciate everyone's time and input on the whole proposed project. Okay?
And should we decide again, you will get plenty of notice. Just wanted to make sure anybody that thought, well, wait a minute, what about next month?
Okay, so,
We did not receive notice of this meeting. How are we supposed to receive notice? We heard from somebody else.
Well, there's a difference between a specific meeting and the issue itself. We may send something out about the issue. We may not, I don't know that we would necessarily send something out on every single meeting that's going to occur because of that issue. I mean, there should usually there'll be a contact, some contact information, right? I mean, right? Okay.
Where would we find that?
In your mailbox. Oh, that I don't, you know.
Well, the agenda of our public meetings are always available.
Yes, I mean,
The
that's,
agenda of our meetings are available. This wasn't a discussion topic that we were looking for feedback, but yeah, thank you.
okay. All right, with that, yes, sir.
My name is Donald Hay.
Yes.
Could you,
Captain Pat is.
Okay, quickly.
My name is Donald Hay, and I'm joined with Kathy Papp, and we want to thank the board and all the citizens of Vernon Hills for entertaining the idea and the discussion. We learned a lot from it, and we hope to improve our ability to respond to issues of the community, and we'll be working on that. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our new business. And first up are IAPD, IPRA Community Service Awards. And for those of you who don't know what all those letters mean, that's the Illinois Association of Park District and the Illinois Parks and Recreation Association Community Service Awards. So I would like Jessica Mitchell, our Relations Risk Manager, to come to the podium. There she is. And she's going to get them started.
All right. The Vernon Hills Park District has partnered with MB Financial Bank since 2015. In this time span, their contributions to RibFest have been the most substantial of any sponsor. Their commitment to our park district and community is exceptional. This year, they devoted even more funding to RibFest with a 20% increase in the sponsorship funds. Their sincere kindness when working with MB Financial. We thank you, Jill and Michelle, for your contributions to the Vernon Hills Park District and for what you do to enhance the Vernon Hills community. Please accept this Community Service Award as a token of our appreciation, and we truly appreciate your support. And if you don't mind coming up to accept it.
Turn around and smile.
The Vernon Hills Park District has been privileged to partner with Canals Automotive Group since 2015. Their generosity for financial giving supports our community in many capacities and has increased every year that we've worked with them. Almost a 50% increase with just this past year from 2017 to 2018. Canals provides sponsorship funds to almost all of our Park District events and consistently is one of the top contributors every time. The support from Canals exemplifies community giving to the fullest, both financially and how they connect with our patrons at our events. Ray, please accept this Community Service Award as a sincere thank you for all of your support. We look forward to working with you throughout 2018.
Okay, next up is Tom Ritter, our Superintendent of Recreation, with our next presentation.
just like we honored a couple of our sponsors, I wanted to honor one of our volunteers. In 2011, the Park District embarked on our inaugural Little Bear Rib Fest. And every year we've been able to count on Phil Symbol to be there to help serve drinks and help provide great service to our special guests in the sponsorship tent. Being rookie bartenders ourselves, Phil would give us his valuable input and would show up early to help us set up and make a very busy time for staff much more manageable. In addition, when we started our craft beer tasting in 2014, we knew exactly who to call on to help us with the event. Again, Phil was one of the first volunteers to arrive and help us do the heavy lifting by moving and sorting all of the different products. He would then stay and pour tastings for the evening. Like I just mentioned, this was all in the spirit of volunteerism. Phil works these events expecting nothing in return other than camaraderie and a chance to be a part of the community. I'm proud to recognize Phil Symbol with the IPRA Community Service Award for his continued support of the Vernon Hills Park District and its residents. If you would just come up.
At this time, I'd also like to invite Village Trustee Tom Cook up. He has a small presentation that he would like to make this evening.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Park Board for allowing us to jump into this because we have the same opinion of Phil. And I'll just, on a personal note, when you're talking about somebody who volunteers, I've known him since he was, well, he used to ride a bus I drove. But anyway, one of the things that I heard several people talk about was even back then, his stop was near the end of the route. And every day he would go through the bus, closing all the windows and everything to help out the driver. It started way back then. So here's the village would also like to recognize Phil. Over the years, Vernon Hills has had many community events. The success of these events has been based in large part on the use of volunteer staff. In several events such as Summer Celebration, Ribfest, Oktoberfest, volunteers working behind the bar have been a key component to the success of each event. Phil has been an important volunteer to all of these events. Phil could always be counted on to help serve and provide great service to the attendees of each of these events. Phil would work long hours helping organize the areas, also providing valuable input on how to set up and sharing his knowledge to make things more manageable for each of the volunteers. Phil also sold raffle tickets, checked IDs, assisted with event setup, and was always willing to help with anything. Phil worked these events expecting nothing in return other than being able to share his knowledge, interact with attendees, and be part of the greater community. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Village of Vernon Hills that President Byrne and the Board of Trustees do hereby recognize Phil Symbol for his many years of volunteer service to our community and express their sincere appreciation for his dedicated service to the village.
Once again, thank you again to all of our sponsors and volunteers this evening. We appreciate everything you do. It makes all of our district functions and events happen a lot more smoothly, and we really couldn't do it without all of you. So thank you once again. All right, since our meeting is moving a little swiftly, we can give a chance for everyone to bail out.
Thank you, family and friends.
That's the boring stuff is about to start.
Now everyone leaves.
How you doing? Good to see you, Brian. Take care.
Normally I have to stay for
Yeah, you can do it.
Everybody loves
Now we can talk about it, right?
Okay, so we're supposed to have playground presentations next, but we're way ahead of schedule, so we're gonna move past them and come back to them. So with that, we will get to item C, which is the Village of Vernon Hills request to use Century Park for July 4th and summer celebration events. I need a motion to approve this, the village request for those uses. We have a motion? Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Mullane?
Yes.
Commissioner Blue?
Yes. All right. Item E is the salary classification schedule and merit recommendation for 2018-19. Can I have a motion to approve this, please?
So moved.
I second.
Discussion. Mr. Robbins?
Yeah,
Please.
I'm just, what are we voting on? I just,
Voting on,
I'm not sure what we're doing with this.
in your packet, there was a recommendation for a merit increase, full merit increase.
Okay, I got you.
Okay?
I know where it is. Thank you.
I know
I'm
we are.
sorry.
Okay. Fair enough. Then, any other questions, discussions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Blue?
Yes?
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Molina?
Yes.
Okay. Then I need, next up is the W.W. Granger invoices. May I have a motion to approve the W.W. Granger invoice in the amount of $2,296.57?
We didn't have to do that tonight.
I know we did.
I second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Blue?
Yes?
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Molina?
Yes.
Okay, I think Rick's still setting up, so how about a, any quick commissioner comments while we're here this evening? Commissioner Moline?
No, I'm good. Thank you, staff, for everything you do. You're welcome. I don't hear it enough.
Commissioner Robbins?
Nothing this evening.
Commissioner Kessler?
Just thanking the staff for the budget. We had a meeting we had prior to this and all the hard work you guys put into it. Nice job.
That's for me. Everyone said everything, so thank you all, and we're good there. So with that, let's slide back to start the Donnelly Park and Rainy Park replacement presentations. And first up will be Rick Peterman from Landscape Structures, with I'm sure 57 boards of color and whatever else. Okay. 15 minutes.
Does everyone know that they have a little cheat sheet to go along?
You have a cheat sheet?
Yeah, you put one of these on in front of you a little while ago. James did it.
So there's scorecards in front of you with the price, and it does go in order. And if you would like to take notes, that'd be great.
There you go. Thank you.
Anybody over there see that? You see that?
You bet.
It's at the end of 6.
Oh, that's why.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ready? Oh, you got it up there. Okay. All right.
And then, before you start, Rick, just, James, get the microphone. Just as a point of clarification, the presentations that we will be looking for this evening, we have one for Donnelly Park and one for Rainy Park.
Yes, we have 4 vendors, 2 playgrounds.
Or, I know, but the age groups that we're looking at for each one of the parks.
Currently, both of our 5 to 12.
All right, so we're looking at 5 to 12 presentations this evening.
Not necessarily. Some of the vendors chose to do a 2 to 5 for Donnelly.
For Don.
Donnelly is a very, a passive 5 to 12, so a 2-year-old would be okay, but it's meant for a 5 to 12. Rainy is a 5 to 12. A 2-year-old cannot play at Rainy safely.
Okay. All right, well, I want to make sure we're all looking at the right age group, is my point. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm Rick Biederman from New Toys, and we are out of LaGrange, Illinois. We have put 3 ideas together for Donnelly Park tonight and 4 for Rainy Park. My interpretation of James's letter when it came was that Donnelly was supposed to be for smaller kids, so we did design those in the 2 to 5 age range. And then for Rainy, we went to the older age group, 5 to 12. So what you're going to see here for Donnelly is designed for 2 to 5-year-olds. Option 1, what I did was this is a brand new product that we just came out with this year, and it's called our Town Center. What it consists of is 3 buildings. Oh, I got to move on here because you're looking at a screen too. Okay. There we go. The town center consists of a market cafe, a loft, and a fire station. There are 3 individual buildings designed for 2 to 5-year-olds, and they include a lot of different activities throughout, inside, outside. I think in the quote that we sent you previously, it lists, because of the time factor, I'm not going to go through all of them, but they include things like vegetable climbers and talk-through panels and meal tables and flower spinners, lower-level clubhouses, image panels, and obviously you can see the crawl tunnels on there too. You've got a fire truck theme on one, you've got a loft theme on the other, and there's a market cafe on the third one too. They can be done individually. We chose, based on your budget, to use all 3 of them, of which they can all connect and become one big town center throughout. So that is option 1. If you look up in the top right, you'll see the 2D rendering, which kind of shows how it fits in the space there, and it fits very comfortably with all the clearances in there. Option 2, I'm going to walk over. I'm not moving there. There we go. In your packet, there's additional pages besides the boards that you see here. Option 2, what you see there is a structure that's a little bit higher. It's really still designed for 2 to 5, but it does have a 5-foot high deck on it also, which does comply with the 2 to 5 age range. What you have on this one, as you can see, is the single post cool topper. You've got a couple independent pieces, which is the small merry-go-round. You've got a cozy dome. There are a couple different climbers on the far left, the big orange climbers called our Thunderhead climber. That consists of what we call a transfer point, where you can step up at 8-inch increments, 8, 16, 24, 32, all the way up to the 48-inch deck. And then on the opposite side, there's a little small mountain climb, kind of a climb up or a slide down type activity on the far side of it. There's a little walking bridge that leads them up to that 5-foot level, and then there are 2 slides. There's a double slide off the 4-foot deck, and then there's a slide winder slide off the 5-foot deck. Again, comfortably fits into that space. Option 3, again, designed for the smaller age group. You've got a number of different climbers on there. You've got a couple different slides, double slide, slide winder slide. This one, there's some activity panels at grade level also. The cozy dome in the far left, as well as a balance beam and some stepping pods. And then one of the pieces that I really like, and I see it being used very, very well out at the parks, is the Weesaw. The Weesaw is a 4-seat seesaw that accommodates 4 children very comfortably, or adults. And you probably get 3, 4, 5 kids standing in the front middle of it too, as it's moving up and down. It's one of those pieces that you can also use one child at a time. You don't have to have 4 on there to make it go up and down. One can get on there and get movement out of it too. So those are kind of the 3 ideas. The components that are in all 3 are all listed on your sheets that we submitted. I mentioned a lot of them, but all the individual ones. In option 1, you've got almost 30 activities throughout, including panels and climbers and slides and different things that you can do. Option 2 has 17 different activities, and option 3 has 15 different activities that you can utilize on those structures. Any questions on Donley?
How tall is option 3?
48 inches, 4 feet.
So same as option 2?
Option 2 actually goes up to 56.
Oh, I thought you said.
Yeah, this slide here is at 56. We're at 48 over here, so it inclines up slightly. But these here go up to 4 feet.
And what's the material on the little houses?
The material is our permaline product. It's the same exact product that you have out at Castle Park, the permaline panel. The other option that you have on option 1 doesn't have to be these colors. We've got 40 to 50 different color options. So it doesn't have to be your red, blues, and yellows. I mean, those are your primary colors, but you've got 40 other options in permaline that you can use too. But the materials are exactly the same as what's out at Kids Castle, all permaline. Questions?
Go ahead, ask away.
The houses, or the 3 buildings, what are they doing inside and how hot would it be in there?
I don't think it would get hot. I mean, the enclosures, we have enclosures on play structures all over the place, at 4, 5, and 6 foot levels. And the decks have holes in them, so they're, I don't want to say they're ventilated, but they technically give you some air. And you've got openings, these are window openings. They're probably a little larger than they appear here. This looks like a little toy house. I wish I had a real picture to put up there, but we just came from a sales meeting in January, and they had these on display, and I really liked them. They were something different for that age.
So the roofs are all open vented, I assume? Those windows on top of it?
Mm-hmm. Inside, what you've got are little manipulative things. You've got steering wheels, you've got tables, you've got, there's a list on the sheet of all the different things that are inside there.
Big enough for adults to get in there too?
Yeah, like a little snug. I'm not trying. But it's low enough to the ground that Mom can stand there and watch as things are going on. It's not one of those 5, 6 foot levels that they can't get up if there's a problem. It's very low to the ground.
So is this a little slack line?
I'm sorry?
Is this a slack line?
Which one is that?
Little kid is on a slack line?
That's actually a belt table.
It's like a right.
Yeah, it's almost, if you're familiar with our boogie board, which is a thing you stand on, it's almost like a surfboard. That's designed to be a table. And it's, again, low to the ground. to talk and do the same thing here. So, Rainy Park, there's a little sheet in your packet at the beginning that I made reference to, dare to be different. With landscape structures, we have a tendency to want to do things a little different than other people. Their manufacturing details are a little bit different. We try to come up with components that are a little exotic. What do kids like? Well, I can probably put 20, I just did it at a school in Elgin. I put 20 components on a board, and I guessed which 15 the kids would pick the most. And they're the things that they haven't seen before, things that are different, things that aren't in every other park. What I tried to do with Rainy Park is give you something that your parks really don't have, and give you something new, something kind of unique. So option one is a little more traditional, where it has almost a combination of 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. As you look on the far left, you've got 4-foot decks over there with a double slide. And then coming across, you've got what we call the jig-jag climber. The jig-jag climber is an elevated climber that starts at deck level and comes down to grade level. And then on the other side, you've got another double slide coming off that 4-foot deck. Coming in this direction, we've got a ring tangle climber, we've got a trekker, which is an overhead upper body type of activity. And then we get over to the disc net climber. What we have is a climbing net that's supported by 6 upright posts. And what you have are climbing activities without decks. And inside are discs, big thick rubber discs, about 3/4 inch thick, that the kids can climb through. They sit on them, they bounce on them a little bit. They're not like a trampoline, they're not going to springboard themselves across the park, but it does have a little bit of movement and flexibility to it. That particular one, I put a couple flex roofs on the top and gave it a little different look. And there's some activity panels at grade level surrounding the playground also for that one. Option 2 is a little bit different. It's a larger post deck system with a climbing net internally. And what you have, actually going back to option 1, we've got about 14 activities in there along with the net. Option 2 is the 14-post Netplex system, and there's a separate brochure that I gave you that has both Netplex and the Smart Play from Donnelly Park also in the kids designs. But the 14-post Netplex system, as you see there, is a big internal climbing net. And then we've got numerous things attached coming off of it, such as the soul spinner. You see the boogie board down there at the bottom. There's the boogie board. The boogie board's probably one of our most popular pieces. Kids love it. They stand on it and use it as a surfboard. The little girls get on their stomachs and rock back and forth on it like it's a hammock. And it's just really a fun piece. Some of the other things in there, the tightrope climber, you've got the soul spinner on the far right, a little spinning material, and then this one has the double jig-jag climber, so it's not leading to a deck, but it goes from ground level up. I'm sorry, I'm just not advancing here on your screens. As you see there, the jig-jag leads up to the middle, and then there's an exit fire pole off the middle post also. So when they get to that top point, they can slide down if they choose to, if they don't want to walk down again. Option 3 and 4. I even went a little crazier. Option 3 is our Eclipse net climber. And It is a huge net supported by two big arch pipes.
Rick, can you advance the?
Yeah, I'm sorry. There we go. It's an Eclipse net climber, and you can see it's surrounded by numerous components. You know, you've got the swiggle knots, you've got the arc bow climber, which is both an upper body horizontal climbing activity, or they'll climb on the top of that also. You've got parallel bars, you've got chinning bars, you've got a tightrope. There's also a slide on the back side of that one, and that slide is right at about 6 feet when they get up. It's an independent, but it's attached to one of the arch posts. Let's see if we have a better picture of that. Yeah, it doesn't really show the back side. Also at ground level, you've got 3 independent panels that can be utilized there too. And you can see how it fits in the space very nicely also. Option 4, I offered a huge tower. This is a 10-foot high tower that has 2 terrific slides off of it. The slide winder slide and the... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. There we go. The slide winder slide and the whoosh winder slide. Our whoosh winder slide was new last year, and what it is we've really gotten rid of our spiral slides because they really don't slide very fast. The whoosh winder has a much tighter spin to it, gets a little further away from the deck, got a little different shape than the slide winder, and you can see it's a fast-moving slide coming down off at 10 feet. Some of the other components that are on there, as you see, now there's also a 4-foot deck on there. There's a 4-foot deck that has a lollipop climber and a double slide attached to it. And then to get from 4 to 10, there's like a little porthole that goes up, almost like a submarine porthole that takes them up to that 10-foot level. We're not allowed to take climbers from ground level to 10 feet, so you have to do it internally in a design like this. What else do we have on there? There's some ground level activities. There's some activity panels. There's another look at it. Horizontal ladder in the back side with a parallel bar on the side. There you can see how it fits in your space. I tried to show your pergola that's already out there and how it would look with that. And again, don't get hung up on the colors. We've got 50 other options to choose from if you don't like the Lyman. The Lyman, believe it or not, Lyman and Tangerine are probably our 2 most popular colors. And then there's a list of all the different things. So, questions on Rainey?
I have a question on those 1 and 2, where you have the nets and, you know, a small child. Is that safe? I'm concerned with a little child falling through the net.
Do you have grandchildren?
I sure do.
I've got a 3-year-old, 4-year-old grandchild, and she would be on top of that net within 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it's really not designed for that age group, but they will utilize it. They will utilize it.
Okay, but I'm concerned about the 2-year-old falling through.
Yeah, it's, again, on this particular one, you've got something here for that younger age group. You've got a lot of ground level activity here. Any of our climbing nets, whether it be this one or that one, and this one actually isn't as high as that gets there. This one is a little bit lower in the ground. It's more of a wider climb than a higher climb. But they try to keep the increments consistent, going up, going down. I hear what you're saying. It's, you know, designing the park, when I go out and I see 2 to 5s and 5 to 12s, 95% questions, and I'm not sure the record.
Yeah, I just be concerned, mom or dad brings, their 5 and 2-year-old, and, okay, sure, they're gonna go to one park, they're not gonna go, put the 2-year-old here and the 5-year-old there, and I'm just concerned the 2-year-old is, gets on the equipment for the over 5 and has some issues.
As part of my letter too, I did ask every vendor, for Rainy in particular, to have something to do for a 2-year-old. I mean, but the greatest thing, the side panels, I think every vendor had it, but yes.
Any other questions for me? Good? All right, I think we're good. Thank you. Thank you for bringing out all your boards.
Appreciate the opportunity. They're all yours.
All right. James, I'll let you get set up for the next one. Couple minutes.
So our next presenter is Doug with Game Time Cunningham Recreation.
Okay.
Evening, everyone.
Good evening. Okay, so just for the general public's knowledge, next up is Doug. I'm going to go Oberbrecken. Boy, he's representing Game Time. I think you're Game Time, just Game Time?
Cunningham Recreation.
Cunningham Recreation. All right, okay. And the floor is yours whenever you're ready.
It's the first time I had the opportunity to present to you all. The last year I was on vacation, and I don't know if I need that or not. So James and Jeff presented for me, and 2 years before that, Renee Beard stepped in as I was on a bike ride across Iowa. But nice meeting everyone or seeing everyone. So thank you for having me. So we've got 4 designs for us tonight, 2 for Donnelly and then 2 for Randy. James, you're going to have them up on the screen there. I'll do Donnelly first, option 1. I've got a pointer I want to use here. Real briefly, the main thing that's going to separate Game Time from the rest of the manufacturers that you're going to see is the way our products and our uprights are constructed. Not so much constructed, but we have no clamps, so it's a much cleaner look. Everything's pre-drilled at the factory, so our products are all compliant before they leave the factory, which is in Fort Payne, Alabama. We're not reliant on a contractor to put the decks at the right height, the guardrails and handrails at the right height. It's a cleaner look, and you don't have the clamps that also are can be unwanted grab holes or footholds to get up and down on the outside of the playground. Okay, so Donnelly 2, let's jump into it. So this one we've got 4 slides, we got 5 decks, and then 3 different links. So your slides, you got 2 slides here. I don't know if you can all see that. Behind me here, 2 slides. The center has some raised disc on it, so it's not necessarily designed to be a slide. You could kind of bump yourself down. You could go climb up it if you would like also. The bridge that connects it to is kind of an arch. It's an arched bridge. We got a funnel climber that goes from a 4 to a 6-foot deck. That's the tunnel that you see here. Go from a 4 to a 6-foot deck. And then there's a double slide on the back side, which you can see here also. Different levels of climbing, that's something we also try to incorporate into our designs. Instead of having the same level of challenge, if you will, different levels of difficulty in the climbing. Your most easiest, obviously, is going to be your stairs, going on up your transfer platform going up, and then you advance onto some rung climbers over here. Here's what we call stego climber. So you gradually get a little more advanced as the kids get more comfortable with the playground. Hopefully, as they're going out to it, time and time again, they advance through the design. Comments, questions at all before I go on to the next one? This also has down below the deck a little panel which we call the GT store. It's more for imaginative play, so the kids can get behind the panel. That's this white one underneath here. They can get behind it, pretend they're at a storefront, and take orders or do whatever they want to do. And it's a way to create their own sense of imagination. Most of my design you're going to see, if you look at the top view, you can see how we try to incorporate a looping type play, so the kids can kind of go around the whole playground, in a lot of cases not even touch the ground, if that's the game or the event that they want to play. They can continue to traverse around the whole play set without touching any of the wood chips. We're good on this one? The second structure for Donnelly is again, you can see the looping pattern, right? It's a square, somewhat open in the center, but you can walk around the whole structure without hitting the rocks. A little more of a nature theme going on. We got what we call a river rock climber here. That goes up to the 6-foot deck. So you have a 5-foot and a 6-foot deck on this one. You got a rock climber there, and then a rock climber on the backside also. That has a couple different play events coming off of that. This is bongos here, play a little music. We call this a zip slide, which is going straight down, a little more speed. That is what that slide is there. We got some hanging pods over here. If you can see the green, it does show up on the TV pretty well. Hanging pods, what's that?
It doesn't show up on screen.
Yeah. The hanging pods with the chain coming down, a little more of a difficult way to traverse across from one deck to another. It is requires a little more balance than some links that you have if it's just a bridge that's going across. So your transfer station, your entrance into the playground, if you're using the stairs, would take you right to a 5-foot deck. Any comments on that at all? There is a nice web walk right in here, which is a little difficult to see on the rendering because it's so airy, but there is a connection point right here, which is this net. So it's a net climber, it's not a tube, right, but it's got nets on 3 sides of it. So as you're going across, you can grab onto the net on each side and then traverse across from one play event to the next. Butterfly climber, that's the yellow climber over here. That takes you up to the 5-foot deck. There is a seat down below right here. We try to incorporate, if we don't have roofs or if we don't have a lot of seating, we always try to, in most of our designs, you'll see on the ones coming up, have a seat for any kids that may have a social challenge and they want to have a little bailout or someplace to kind of sit and get comfortable until they feel comfortable going on to play at the next level. That is Donnelly.
And both of these are for ages 2 to 5?
No, it's for 5 to 12.
These are 5 to 12.
These are both 5 to 12, but it's on the more passive side, not as challenging as a traditional 5 to 12-year-old playground. Both of the decks for Donnelly, we only went to 6 feet, where traditionally on a 5 to 12 structure, you can go up to 8 feet, okay? So we intentionally, and that was part of the request that came out, was for this part, 5 to 12 is fine, but we wanted it on a more passive side, not too aggressive 5 to 12. A 2 to 5 structure, your decks, you're only at 5 feet, so it's a little lower. So this is a conservative 5 to 12 would be the best way to classify that, okay? Randy, these two are my 2 favorites. Realizing both of these parts are pretty close to each other, we did try to give you a variation. This has big decks on it, and a little difficult to see, but there's 3 decks, and 2 of the 3 are real good size. You have a 4-foot deck. It's pretty linear, as you can see on the top view. So it goes from a 4-foot deck, you go through the tunnel, that takes you up to a 6-foot big octagon platform. It's a good sized deck, and then that 6-foot leads you up to an 8-foot deck where you got the 2 slides that come off. It's an over-under slide that comes off of an 8-foot deck. What else we talked about on this one? So you also would ask for, so this is a 5 to 12 structure also, with some ground play, play events around the perimeter of it for the younger kids. So what we have around the perimeter. We call this our sensory seat. So this spins in a circle. It is good for if a child has limited abilities. There is harness straps that can go on there. So not only harness strap to strap in if they want it, there's handrails to hold on to also. It's an interesting seat. It looks pretty simple, but when it gets spinning, it's interesting what you do with your feet. If you put your feet out, it'll slow down a little bit, but put it in, it kind of picks up. It doesn't pick up speed, but it maintains its speed. It doesn't slow down. Out here on the perimeter is a leaning wall or leaning rail. So the kids lean onto it. They'll be actually facing each other because they're leaning from the opposite directions. They can hang on it, do pull-ups on it, whatever they want. There's an activity panel. We are showing a tic-tac-toe panel. There's a whole host of panels that can be used, obviously, between them, but we show tic-tac-toes and we know what that is. And there's also 2 seats on this side also. So it's a 3-component piece around the perimeter, and them seats are, again, kind of a bailout zone. The kid wants to sit until he's ready to move on to play, then they can advance in if they will, if you will. This also has a table underneath. It's difficult to see, but underneath that 8-foot deck, it's a picnic table. Okay, so it's got seats on both sides and there's an actual table. So although there's really no roofs on this structure, you do got some tunnels, but underneath it, there's 2 areas to seat. The one is that there's an actual table that's underneath that 8-foot deck, and then on the other side, there's 2 seats, which is similar to the 2 that we have out here on the perimeter. So there is a space underneath. The component off to the right, the net structure, that is from our Ionics collection. It's a little different unit than that's what you have at Peterson Park. Both of the units at Peterson is game time equipment, designed for higher caliber, encourage a little more activity. You'll see no roosting spots, if you will. There's no deck. There's nobody. You can't have nowhere to sit. It's designed to keep the kids moving. So this piece right here is called our tri-net. It is a net structure, and it does have a link. Again, difficult to see, but there is a net link that connects this big piece to your deck. Well, it doesn't show up too well in that either, but that connects you to the 6-foot deck, so you can either advance that deck overhead, or you can stay on top of the deck to get across. Questions, comments on that? We're all good? Good. Well, there's 2 talk tubes also around the perimeter. You barely can see the talk tubes that you talk into, the flower talk tubes, and again, that's for the littler guys around the perimeter. The last option for the Randy is probably my best. So this one takes a little bit to wrap your brain around. It's got an 8-foot deck, but there's also a deck below it. Again, so there is no roofs on this, but there is a deck above you, so you do have that relief. So the way this one works is you come in off of your transfer station. Up here, that takes you right up to to a 5-foot deck. And then if you go to your right, you're going to come up top here, and these are 2 8-foot slides that come off of an 8-foot deck. Okay, so you come in, you go up to the right, and the only way to get down off of that 8-foot deck is either the slides or this climbing wall. If you go straight forward as you come up this transfer, you go to a 5-foot deck, and then you can go down. So you go to the right, you go up, or you go straight forward, you go down. Again, you can see the loop, the square pattern there, so the kids love to, as you probably know, if you have your own way to go down the slide, you just go up and down. Some music instruments out here. These are your plastic bongos, but over here we have what we call cantata chimes. Very nicely done, more professional sounding. I am not a musician, but it's a pentatonic scale. If anybody is in the music arena, basically what that tells you is that on a 5-note scale, it's pretty hard to mess up. Meaning anybody can get them and start playing on it, it's going to sound very harmonious. Okay, so it's not plastic; it's actually professionally done musical instruments that you would see at an adult park or musical park. This out here is called our cozy climber. Again, it's just a bailout point. Either can be a bailout point or a jump-in point, however you want to look at it. Again, if you have any children that maybe have a social challenge, come into the park, they may want to sit and hang out in here until they kind of get a feel and lay of the land, see what the kids are doing, see how the playground works, if they're having that difficulty, then when they're ready, then they can jump in. sit in it, or you can also climb on top of it. This little piece right here is a little toddle rocker, we call it. There is no swings at this park, as you guys know. The footprint doesn't really allow to have a set of swings. So with that toddle rocker, it's very low to the ground. It is for 2 to 5 year olds. We've seen kids stand on it, kind of go back and forth, or the little kids will actually sit on it and go back and forth. A lot of overhead climbing on this one with the white overhead there, or the white overhead climber. There's some more music pieces down below there. What else I missed on this one? That's pretty well it on this one. Like I said, I like it because when you come in off the playground, you go to the right, you go up top to the top shelf, if you will. You got the 2 slides coming down, or you can go to the left, go straight forward. You can go to the 5-foot deck, and then you go down, and then you're below the 8-foot decks that are above you. So that is the 4th option. Comments?
Any questions? So far? Oh, I think we're good. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Oh, well, sure. There we go.
So what did you call it? The cozy climber, they're actually climbing on top of that structure? And how tall is it?
That goes up, that's about 4 feet up is all.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's lower than a lot of the decks, you know, that are on the playground, but designed more to hang out, to sit in.
And how wide? I mean, how many people can sit
Depends on the
inside?
size of the child, of course, but you could get 3 to 4 in there. I mean, it's got 4 sides, so you could really have, you know, if your legs are sitting out, you could have 4 on there pretty easily. You can pack. For smaller kids, you probably have someone in the center of it. Ideally, comfortably, you know, 3 is probably an optimal number.
So it's like 4 feet square?
That is, I don't know, but it's about 4 feet, yeah. I don't know the exact dimensions, but it's right in that range.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you all very much.
Oh, thank you.
Were you on Bragg Ride?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
I'm going this year.
Are you really? Fun times.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to be our 9th or 10th season for that's cool. So
Nice.
it's fun. The rest of the route's coming out middle of the month or middle of March.
It's already been announced, the route?
The overnight in the towns, but the route between the
Oh, okay.
is still coming up. They hold that off for another big event they can have.
Does he want to leave those?
I think he's going to. Yes, it's just covered.
Okay.
The competition stage.
Jim, do you want to leave the boards here? Sure. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Our next presenter is Margaret Chias from Clay, Illinois. She's representing Burke.
Okay, welcome.
What I would like to do tonight is just briefly introduce myself to Burke, and then we'll jump right into designs and questions. We've partnered with BCI Burke out of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and Burke is the oldest playground manufacturer. They'll be celebrating 100 years in business in just a couple more years. Why we partnered with them is because they believe that play that moves you, so getting families behind the screens, out back into the parks. And that's something that we believe as well. So every playground, every park has a personality, and it's our job to make sure that's preserved and then brought out in the designs. As you can see with these designs here. With the first design, we wanted to focus more on challenging and interactive play. So a lot more climbing, a lot more sliding. We have the rock climbing wall. We also have the pod steppers, the slides, and the goal is, if you can look at the plexus overhead in the back corner, the blue, there should be an alternate view. Yeah, if you actually, let me show you. So right there, the goal is that we want to have kids who are not just coming to the typical templated playground. We want to make sure that every time that they come, they're challenging themselves and figuring out different ways to interact with the equipment. Whether that's a different way to get on the slides, whether it's climbing through the tree climbers, and also then bringing some of the play around the perimeter of the park, whether that's the interactive panels. But each time a child is going to come to the park, we want them to find a different way to interact with the equipment. There's also the transfer station, and then some of the vertical climbers on the side. You can go back to the JPEGs. There we go. So the goal is to have multiple slides of different heights. We want climbing structures. We want the transfer station so even smaller children are able to access the equipment safely. With the pod step climbers on the left, it's allowing children to cross to different play structures and then also figure different ways to work on their core. So without knowing it, we're trying to give them a little bit more of a challenge each time. For this particular example, we have 27 play events. And again, that is designed for really challenging the kids in a different way, but keeping that active play.
How tall are the platforms for the slides?
The platforms, the transfer stations are 24 inches. And then the platforms, I believe, are 48 inches high.
How high are they?
Oh, the tallest one is, I think it's 56, 60 inches.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this design? Okay. And then with this design as well, what you'll see, a new feature that we have is called the luge slide. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the ability for two children to race down the slide, but there's also a tactile component so they can climb up. We have the interactive panels going on the outside of it, so the rain panel, the sound, to really guide people and children throughout the park. We have the Viper slide that you'll see there, so two children again can race down the slides. And then there's more focus on the climbing with the very eye-appealing vertical climbers in the back. And then also the tactic bolts, where you'll see on the left-hand side that we have the ability to cross over on the structures. So you can continue to climb up and over. You can go ahead and use the different footholds on the climbers, or reach up and grab the bars to climb up. And these are some different views. You can see the climbing components that will consistently bring throughout to the vertical climbers on the right. And again, it's a range of footholds and tactile climbing input. Any questions on this design? And this also has 27 play events. Okay, for Donnelly, our focus was really continuing on the personality of the playground. So it's more on the passive play side. So you won't see heavy climbing. What you're seeing is more of the interaction between the slides with some of the smaller climbing walls. With this particular example here, we have the spiral slide, we have the rock and slide. You'll see the leaf climber, off to the side, and then the transfer stations, and then there's also the different climbers in the back leading up to the platforms, and the small roof structure as well. Oh, and I'm sorry, if you can go back, James. And then you'll see that we're continuing with the pod steps. So going up to the transfer station, there's smaller steps, so children can still practice their balancing, frog hopping. Any questions on this example?
Can you design this with what age group in mind?
5 to 12. And we know that this does go on the younger side. Yes. So if you look here for a different view, you can just see the different climber components, but there's a heavy emphasis on sliding and more of that interaction. So being able to go up to a different structure and then slide down, whether it's through the spiral slides or straight down the slide. And the number of play events with this particular design is 17. Okay. With this different example, you'll see again that we have the transfer station. We've put the interactive play panels on the perimeter. So we have the wind chimes, we have the touch and play steel guitar, and then we also have the rain wheel. If you look throughout the structure, you'll see the slides are a little bit smaller. We do offer the arched catwalk bridge going across to the two structures. There's the different climbing walls, and you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there's also the arched climber. So again, it's giving children a different way to either use footholds and climb across, or they can swing and pull up on the bars. And then each of the panels have been updated, so they're a little bit more interactive, there's more for kids to do, and it's visually appealing. So for anyone walking by, there's something to catch the eye. Again, the user capacity for this is 94 children with 20 play events. And then we also did add the luge slide again. So that's something that's becoming very popular with the kids now. We do at Burke, they offer the longest and strongest warranty, which is something I'd like to point out, that it will go up to 100 years. Not that we'll keep the parks, you know, for 100 years, but up to 100 years for the posts. If you had a component that had a 15-year warranty, for example, and a part broke in year 14, we replace it at no charge, and the warranty starts over again. We're also based out of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, so the shipping charges, the freight will be considerably less.
Any questions?
There is a video, it's a brief, I promise, minute and a half video, but it explains a little bit more about Burke and why we feel that Play That Moves You is so important.
Engagement, and enrichment. Play is essential to life and is innate in all of us. It is the work of childhood and the joy of adulthood. At Burke, we bring Play That Moves You to elevate the emotional, social, cognitive, and physical development of everyone, no matter age or ability. We develop products that bring people together, promote teamwork and cooperation, engage kids in community and physical movement. We create a place to gather, to learn, to build relationships, to enhance quality of life and challenge ourselves to always be better. Each and every day we live our mission while daring ourselves to go further, to serve our communities with the highest level of products and designs, to help everyone find the best of themselves through play. This is why we're here. Play is our passion, our driver, and our business. Join us in the play movement and find out how far play can move you.
It does sound like me, but it was not me. I also was not the one doing the backflip at the end. Okay, if there's no other questions?
No. All right, we appreciate you coming out.
Great, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And our next presenter will be Laney Chapwick. She's with Park Creation representing Little Lakes.
Are we doing a 2 to 5 for one park and a 5 to 12 for the other? I'm confused.
No, the idea was,
Go ahead. So the one, the 5 to 12 is it for sure?
Right.
That's the one at Donnelly. No, excuse me, Randy. At Donnelly, it was it could be a 2 to 5 or a.
they wanted a more passive 5 to 12. Well, hello there.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good choice.
Be the first to bring it
Save the best.
We're at the kid table. We don't
Yeah. You're right. They did the Thanksgiving there. And these are just some extra big random cups.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I am here to present our designs for Donnelly and Rainey Park. With Donnelly, the direction we were getting is a little bit more passive play. And what I found really exciting about that was kids nowadays are so involved with their creativity and imagination being given to them, whether it's a computer game, a TV show. So I decided to take Donnelly and give it some theme to let the kids really have their own creativity and imagination soar. So the first option I did, let me move this so you guys can see it better, was a barn theme, kind of barn and silo. What I did is on the ground level, there's a lot of reach panels for ground level activities for children with different disabilities or even the young kids that just want to play down on the lower level. There's a little fort here in the silo that I did for more creativity and imaginary play. Along the big tower here, we have our silo climber to go along with the theme of the barn. One of the other feedbacks that I've gotten from a lot of you board members is that you didn't like our plastic slides. So you will notice on all of these designs this year going around, they're all metal slides. So you won't have to worry about that. On the farm theme, this goes up to a 96-inch deck. We've got the big spiral slide. We've got a roller slide. We have some different pod climbers and a tire to go along with the farm theme. Any questions on this one?
96 inches is 8 feet, correct?
Yes.
So I want to make sure.
Yeah, we actually, down in Bloomingdale Park District, I did a Tompkins Park with Carrie, and Buzz's little grandchild calls it the Moo Park, because we had enough room there to actually do a big cow that the kids can climb on. So it's been a big success down there, so I thought I'd share this one with you. Okay, the next one for Donnelly is a ship theme. And who doesn't like to be captain of their own ship? So again, what you see here is a roller slide. We've got the ship components with the hull, all the different play panels. We've got talk tubes for the kids. We have the alligator that you have to cross across the moat to get onto the ship. Again, there's all different types of play panels. And because on this one of the slides, I incorporated the sail shade. I thought that went really well with the theme of the ship and also to protect the metal slides. In here, there's actually a ship's wheel, there's a crawl tunnel, and then there's all the different ship panels. Along the back here, we've got our 96-inch rope tower. So it kind of like can give the effect of the kids climbing up the tower to get onto the ship. Any questions on that one? Okay.
How old are those slides?
This is 64.
Okay.
64. In your packet, there's the bird's eye 2D layout of all of them with all the deck heights.
Here's an image of the climber there. Is there
Of the rope climber? The net climber, it's actually in the catalog, and I'll be happy to show you that, and I can also send you some images of some out in the field. You're welcome. Okay, so Rainy Park was actually the first one I started working on, and I had it in my mind of not working with the plastic slides, so I named this one Silver Streak. It's got the stainless steel spiral slide, it's got the rope tower, and it also has the freestyler. The freestyle is super cool because snowboarding and skateboarding is... Oh, that's okay. The freestyler. Skateboarding, snowboarding, especially with the Olympics going on right now, is so popular. All the kids love it, and they hold on to the top two handles, and it's complete core exercise, upper body holding on. Again, we've got the rope tower. This is our new double wall climber. It's almost like the American Ninja Warrior climber, where they have to climb up the wall. So they can climb up it on the inside or on the outsides. This is our new culvert climber. And over here, we have our new log climber. It was a tight space, so if you notice a lot of the climbers are more vertical and tucked in, it was because we had to keep within that circle. Any other questions on this one? Oh, and this is another climber of ours. It's our trail marker. Each one of the different posts, it looks like a little kid was building a fort and took a nail and put a plank of wood on, and it's got all different directions on it.
the one like the snowboard?
The freestyler?
Is there, how do you adjust for different heights? Is that?
It's a standard height.
So what age or what?
It's a 5 to 12.
5 to, okay. So
Yeah.
somebody, how tall do they have to be to do that?
You know, I'm not sure on the height, but I can definitely look, Cindy, and find out the dimensions. It's definitely an older kid's piece. The younger kids probably, not only wouldn't they be able to reach, yeah, but they wouldn't physically be able to do it, you know, any younger than that age. Okay, and the next one for Rainy Park, I did an energy design. Energy is our deckless play pieces, and I also incorporated it because let me step back a second. When you have an energy hub here, you can have slides coming off the centerpiece where the taco climber is, but they only have plastic sides. So I opted to attach the energy hub with this climber to a deck and post, so then we can get the slides on there. There's a rock climbing wall. Get the other one up. Along with all the play components, we've got our spinner that comes off the deck here, and I did an outdoor musical area. So these are all our concerto musical instruments. They're accessible, and the kids just love them. I clustered them in a little circle. It's just ways for the kids to interact and have fun. Music is so important to involve that in kids. Culvert climber, there's all kinds of rope climbers on the energy hub, and then again, you've got the roller slide. Any questions?
What's the, I don't know, for lack of a better word, life expectancy of all the rope?
Well, to be honest with you, I've been in the industry for 11 years. We had one in the ground at Elk Grove Park District at Pirates Cove that was way before my time, and I'm first replacing it. So that has to be in the ground 15 years. Yeah. And we have, if you want to go see something similar to this, I just put one in last year in Waukegan at the Park District, so they've got one there.
The roller slide, I mean, the little, everything rolls?
Yes, yes. The roller slide actually has always been a very popular component, but there were a lot of safety issues with it. So Little Tykes has finally reevaluated it and has brought it back into fruition. So, yeah. There was a lot of string attachments, entrapments and things like that, but they've perfected it, and the kids just go crazy over a roller slide. It was always frustrating because when we didn't have it, I had so many people that requested it, and we weren't able to give it to them.
Which one is that? Where's the roller slide? Which one?
The roller slide is coming off of this deck here.
And how high is
That is 64 inches. Yeah, the roller slide only comes in a 64-inch deck or a 72-inch deck. Yeah, it's got to have a certain pitch so the kids don't completely fly down. All good?
All right, I think we're good. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thanks
My
for
pleasure.
all the information you gave us.
Cindy, did you find the tower? No.
Thank you, Lenny, and that was the last one.
That's okay. That's a, you know what, just, yeah, that's fine. That's okay, thank you.
I was gonna say.
80% off.
Yeah.
And all of these do include the Alex's lemonade stand panel. I don't know if you all remember from IPRA how we have our Alex's lemonade stand. So for every panel that we put on, Tykes will donate $100 in honor of your district. And this year we raised $2,000 at IPRA in the day and a half.
That's a lot of lemonade.
It's a lot of lemonade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone need any extra catalogs?
No.
Have a good evening.
Okay, so, based on all the presentations we have, I think the board will take a little time to absorb everything, since we have an awful lot to look at. Absorb. And, we'll come up with some sort of decisions in due time. So, with that, I'd like to just say that, because of the late hour, we will, skip the reports and communications. I know unless the board has any specific questions concerning the reports. Besides that, I think Tom might have a couple of quick announcements about upcoming events that we probably want to get after. So, Tom?
I did, thank you. I just want to remind everybody that our craft beer tasting event will be taking place next Saturday, March 3rd. That's from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Sullivan Center. Tickets can be purchased at the Sullivan Center, Lakeview Fitness, or online for $35. April 21st is going to be our Loop the Lakes 5K run and walk. It's If you want to mark your calendar for that, you can register at the Park District or at active.com. And that's it for now. Thank you. Seasonal employment, people interested in looking for summer jobs at the aquatic center, lifeguard, pool attendant, camp counselor, all those fun summer things, they can go to the Park District's website to apply for a position as well.
And we have lots of jobs available.
We have lots of jobs available. Yep, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then I do have one piece of correspondence this evening, addressed to President Dorhofer from Carol Sente, our state representative. Says congratulations to the Vernon Hills Park District on again being recognized and as an Illinois Distinguished Accredited Agency with the second highest score in the history of the award. I was honored to join representatives from the Park District at the Illinois Association of Park Districts Luncheon last month, and pleased to see Vernon Hills Park District win this award. Having served on the park board myself, I know the accreditation process is time-consuming and lengthy. However, I believe that the comprehensive evaluation conducted by the Vernon Hills Park District increases operational efficiency and effectiveness, updates and clarifies policies and procedures, and continues to move the Park District forward in providing top-quality services. The board, administrators, and staff should be very proud of this achievement. On behalf of all the residents of Vernon Hills, I thank you for providing exceptional park and recreation services to our community. With my best wishes for your continued success, Carol Sente. And with that, I think we've gotten through everything. So I need a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Mullane?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins? Commissioner Blue?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.